Now we go with Adi Parmar. He says, "Hi, my name is Adi Parmar. I'm in my final year game dev student. First of all, thanks for your content on Udemy and YouTube, as they have really helped me encountering the issues I have faced while working my 3D projects. My goal is to work towards AAA character prop roles, armor weapons at studios like S-Game, Phantom Blade, and Game Science, Black Myth Wukong, open to AA sourcing. Okay. Specific questions. Which piece should stay go for maximum impact? Okay, we'll take a look at that. What one piece should I create next to fill the biggest gap for character prop artist roles? Nice. Realistic assessment of my current hireability at AA and AAA studio. Let's take a look. Okay, nice. Okay, so what piece should you take out? This incomplete piece right here, the Dreadhorn Sheen guards, because you already have some nice completed pieces here, but this one's incomplete, so I'll probably take that one out. From a very simple overview right here, you're probably closer to the AA than the AAA right now, but that doesn't mean that you cannot jump to the AAA relatively soon if we polish some of these elements. First thing I'm going to say, and again, very common, like this is going to be, I'm going to name this stream as the dark stream, because this has been a stream where people are doing very dark work, right? Like things are very difficult to see. It's very, very difficult to appreciate your work because the thumbnails are super dark. Look at this, like super dark. So not ideally what we want. This is also a piece that I would probably take out. I don't think it's a great piece. Topology-wise, it's fine, but yeah, like the textures, like that red metal right there, another great thing. I'm going to show you something, guys. Okay, let's do this. So, it's going to be a little bit of a demo for you guys. If we look for red metal, you're going to see that very often red metal is just this like super pigmented red color metal. And that's not what you usually want to have on your elements because it just looks very, very fake. So let me show you how I would approach doing a red metal effect. First of all, let's go here to substance. First of all, we need to have a metal layer, right? So I'm going to delete these layers right here. Let's delete all of that. There we go. I'm going to add a fill layer. I'm going to set roughness, metalness, and color information. The color is going to be a relatively dark metal, so it's going to be like that. We're going to push the metal all the way to the top, and we're going to make this a little bit rough. Not super rough, but a little bit rough, right? So that we can actually see like something right around there. Again, metallic is all the way to the top. Then we need to add variation, color variation, and there's multiple ways to do it. I'm going to try to keep this as procedural as possible. So I'm going to add a new fill layer. There's going to be a dark color, and it's just going to be black, right? And I'm going to add a black mask, and this is going to be a fill layer. And on the fill layer, let's look for some grunge information. And as you can see, there's going to be a bunch of grunge maps that we can use, like this grunge concrete dusty. I'm just going to add that one right there. There you go. So now this starts looking like an interesting, again, like grungy, like dark material. I'm probably gonna push the roughness a little bit lower because I do want to see the nice metalness right there. And let's add the roughness variation. So this one's gonna be a little bit of roughness, and this one's gonna be close but not the same. So a little bit rough right there. There we go. Let me go to the options here because this thing tends to have like some effect options that I don't like. So let's go here and deactivate post effects. And I'm going to change the map as well to Studio Tomoko. So we can actually no, that one's going to be too light. Let's try Bonifacio Street. There you go. So as you can see, that gives us a nice little variation there for the metal. I'm going to add another variation here. So I'm going to add another layer, just color. And now let's incorporate a little bit of like this sort of like rusty tones. Maybe some like oranges or something like that. Add a black mask again. Right click. Add a fill layer, and we're gonna add something like this grunge elements. There you go. See that? So now we get that nice little dark brown effect. And this one I'm gonna set to overlay. Actually, no, let's keep it normal and just play with the opacity. But as you can see, if we go to the color map of the element, what that is doing, what that little layer is doing, is adding complexity to the whole thing. So instead of having like a pure metal effect right here, we're adding a little bit of variation on the colors to just like make it look a lot more interesting. So this already looks like a very interesting metal, right? Like we're not doing anything, and this already looks like a very interesting like old metal effect that we might want. How do we make this red? Well, the problem here is if people just add a red layer here and then set this to something like overlay, this just looks so horrible. It's just like this ionized like thing. I don't know. I don't like it. So this is the kind of stuff that you need to be a lot more careful with. And it's a very similar process. Yes, we're gonna do a red layer. Yes, we're gonna set this to something like overlay or multiply, but play with the values. Like go for a red color that looks a little bit more interesting. Where can you check this kind of stuff? Like for instance, if we look for Targaryen armor, right? Like there's probably gonna be some Targaryen example armor where we have, in this case, that's like a red leather, right? Like I know this like photo bashing or something, but we want to make sure that the armor looks interesting, right? Like, yes, we want to incorporate color, but it should be a color that is not like overwhelmingly bright like what we have on your portfolio right here, right? So that color right there, it's like very noisy, besides because of the whole like effect. It's very noisy, and it just looks like a tint, right? Like you use like some nail polish or something on top of this, and that's not what we want. We want to have something that looks a little bit more natural. So what thing can we do with this element to make it a little bit more natural? Of course, metal etchware, right? So if this is a paint layer that's being added on top of the metal, well, one of the things that we can add, for instance, is a black mask, a generator, and let's add, of course, our metal etchware generator. There we go. It's good. We need to invert it. That's it. So now we're gonna have this very nice looking metal that has a red color, right? Let me change the environment again. Is it the exposure or something? Trying to find the one that's okay. Glazed patio. Trying to find one that works, but I think it's very dark. Oh no, it's because we have shadows. My bad. It's because we have shadows. I'm also going to increase the exposure a little bit, just so that we can see. This is not the normal exposure, but it's just so that we can see what's going on. So as you can see, that's helping. Of course, we're going to do the little trick that we've done before, where we use something like we can even use another cloud or grunge noise here and use this as a multiply. Or in this case, I'm probably going to have to do this as a divide. And play with the balance here to break the effect there on the metal etchware, right? Like we don't want the metal etchware to be like perfect everywhere. So that's going to help us sort of like give that nice like effect. Right? And then if you want, yes, we can add the scratches. For instance, here, let's add like scratch. And then this one's going to be set to linear Dutch add. No, actually, this one's going to have to be probably multiply. Relay. All right, because the math that we're using here is a little bit different. Might not work exactly. There you go. So let's increase the. What am I using? No, that's one right here. There you go. No, my bad. I'm using the scratches generator. I don't want that. I want this grunge scratches. There you go. There you go. Well, let's invert that. Perfect. So that's what we have. So as you can see, we've now created this very nice looking like metal material, right? Metal red material that gives us the effect that we want without looking like this, like it's just painted on top of everything. So it is very important, guys, that we control our materials, that we learn how to control this. And the cool thing about this one is I can just group this. I'm gonna call this color metal. Let's just rename the elements. So this is going to be base layer. It's going to be dirt layer or color variation A. This is going to be color variation B. And this is going to be painted metal. Okay. So because we've done this, I can just right click this, make this a smart material, and anytime I need a color metal, I just drag and drop this one into my scene. And the cool thing is I can drag and drop this into my scene, and because all of this is procedural, I can just go to the color and be like, oh, this color metal is going to be blue. So there we go. Now we have blue color metal, or this is going to be green color metal, or it's going to be yellow color metal, right? And we just play with the values and figure out a good balance for whatever it is I'm doing. So as you can see, this red metal right here looks way better than what we have right here. So that will be one of the advices for you, Aditya. Let's be careful with our textures. Now you mentioned that this is your last project. Looks good. Again, too dark. Let's change the presentation so that the background is not what's the word? it's way too dark again on the whole thing, and because of all of the materials are very dark, it's also very difficult. I like the amount of detail that you added, though. In general, it looks fine. I like the cloth and everything. I do think we can work a little bit more on the sculpting side of things. Like this kind of elements, they definitely look a little bit too soft. Like this, like the forms and the shapes on this, like demon head. I understand that it was just for the coin, but we can definitely improve on that a little bit more. Yeah, so it's quality in your case, Aditya. I think you can do that. Like just work a little bit more on the quality of your pieces, on the sculpting of the pieces, so that when you do the bakes and the textures, you can get a nicer result. Answering the questions that you had here, the portfolio review. So I already told you which pieces to take out. What one piece should I create next? I would try doing like a medieval armor, to be honest. I think like a normal medieval armor. So medieval armor concept art. So trying to do a full armor, like a full character armor, I think would be a pretty good challenge. You know, something like this, something like this. It depends how stylized or fantastical you want to go. Something like that's pretty cool, right? So doing a full character with the full armor would be a good challenge for you, but focusing again on the quality of the sculpting and the quality of the textures. That's going to be my best advice for you.